What's the status? Are we live yet? Let me quickly check, eh? Yes, we are. A beautiful day. Beautiful, good day. What's going on? Tell me everything. I don't need my own screen, that's fine. Who's ready? Today, this week, for me, intensive, not gonna lie. Not the best week, but hey, it is what it is sometimes, right? Nobody cares, so we need to do what we need to do. We live, Teddy, what up, man? Welcome. And basically, is the music not too loud because I changed some settings, and yeah, that's a thing. So I'm gonna quickly check if our setup is okay, because I'm willing to start the stream with a story, actually, right? A story, a very important story before we start, actually. Hello, Sohel Mia. So basically, in a very long time ago, there was a myth, there was a legend about an ancient civilization. I'm talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And don't hear music. That's crazy. This should be fine. There was a legend about an ancient civilization a long time ago. I'm talking about 1,000 years. And it was a fisherman species. Well, they were fishing the whole day. That was their profession. And the parents, they were educating their children that they could not fish into a certain pool. There was a pool close to the village, surrounded by the high grass, you know what I mean? Like this pool is this dark pool. And the parents were educating their children that they could not fish into that pool because there was a snake. It was a dangerous snake, and if it bit you, you were poisoned and you're gonna die. So nobody wants to fish there. But the time goes by, and 1,000 years, decades, the story transformed. You know, people telling stories to each other. It completely transformed into a snake, a big snake. A snake with 2 heads. A monster that was swimming in the pool. And it's gonna, each time you were near, or each time you would try to fish, it's going to tear you apart. You know what I mean? It's going to completely clap your cheeks. And as of today, nobody actually fished into that pool. Because nobody was brave enough to go out there and to check for themselves if there was even a snake, or a monster, or a dragon. But little do they know that inside of that pool was a lot of fish. It was rich of fish, because nobody fished there. And on top of that, the bottom was completely covered with gold. So you can imagine that the person that was brave enough to go out there and explore that pool, which everybody told not to go there because it's dangerous. The person that was brave enough to explore and fish would completely change his life. And that story basically teaches us something today also, right? Because today we are so fed up with the narrative of the world, right? Especially as programmers. Because I remember the day that I first started programming, first learned how to program, a very long time ago. And just open up an editor and I could write anything I want. The way I wanted, the patterns I wanted, if there were already patterns that day. And everything was okay. And it felt so fucking good. Because I could do what I want, and I came to my solution, I came to something on my screen, and I was so proud of myself. I was happy. But today, we're getting so much influence from all that social media. People telling us and closing a lot of gates, closing a lot of exploration paths, because they are apparently bad practices or not idioms. There are better ways to do that. Don't do this, don't do that. OOP is bad, globals are bad, ORMs are bad. And I think that it's evolving in such a state that we cannot be creative anymore, because a lot of these, like I said, a lot of these exploration paths are closed. We cannot think certain ways anymore because they are bad practices. So before we start the stream, I want you to basically forget everything you learned, forget every influence, and just be free. Just like I was 16 and opened up my first editor. I think it was NetBeans, and I could do what I want. I was free. Let us be free today. Let's go. All right. What are we doing here? I made a lot of mistakes, but it's fine. Is the music going to get you a copyright strike? That sounds familiar. No, this is basically art list, so it's fine. We're Gucci, we're Gucci. I'm gonna actually set up a new playlist, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Look at this. What do we do? Library, guys, look at this. Collections, start browsing here. I just did not record this, man. This is so fucked up, man. I always make the same mistakes. Anthony, when you gonna learn, man? What are we doing? This gaming playlist? Why not? Here, boom, Kids Mania. Let me know if the music is too loud, then I will do it a little bit less. 18, that should be good. Alright. God damn it, I didn't record that. This is fucked up. Oh man, this is so fucking... I'm so fucking pissed at myself. Now I need... It's fine. Because if I record it, I have the complete quality of the stream, right? So I'm gonna record it right now. But it's too late. Alright, so first of all, guys, what I'm gonna do real quick is for the people that wanna level up as a Golang engineer, basically, let me open up some tabs. Fulltime Go Dev. I'm gonna rework the website very soon. It's basically a program for people that are willing to become professionally active as a Golang engineer. You guys know the drill. For the new people, it's made by me. It's actually, besides 3 videos, it's complete, and you get all the updates for free. Check it out. Everything is included. Golang syntax for the people that don't know, mastering concurrency, APIs, microservices, blockchain, all that stuff, real-world projects, and of course how to land a job, right? Because hey, I landed a lot of jobs, not gonna lie, and I was on 2 sides of the spectrum, right? I was an interviewer as a CTO of my own company, and I was also an engineer, so I know the two sides of the spectrum. All good for the volume. That's amazing. The music is syncing well. Yeah, man. Man, I basically completely scripted this story, which I completely invented myself, right? This is not a real story. I just invented that. And I thought I need to record this, so I'm gonna make a short video, put it on my YouTube, but now I don't have anything anymore, so I'm fucked. But it's fine. It's fine. Look at this, guys. Look at this beautiful thing. Look at these microservices. How many things in here? Look at that. And we are also building microservices with GoKit at the end. First with our bare hands, and then we're doing it with GoKit, which is a framework. Talking about frameworks, by the way, that's what we're gonna do today. We are at the launch framework. Not quite sure if that's gonna be the name. I'm just, like I said, I don't care. I just pick a word randomly and I go out there, no questions asked. Put it out in the open and people will give feedback, and then we're gonna change it if the feedback is bad. That's how you need to do it. Don't overthink. So what I'm gonna do today is basically I have some remember the first stream? I have these ideas a little bit implemented, a little bit, right? Not too into detail because that's not what we're gonna do. We're going to explore and we're going to basically do as if we are using the framework, and we're gonna fill in all the gaps as we go. And I'm going to share you my take on how things should behave. Because, yeah. Because you need to understand that everything that's being built is always a little bit of opinionated. You need to understand that, right? All right. So basically, yeah, so we have two sides of the spectrum here. We have the launch main folder, framework folder, right? It's not a main, it's going to be the launch package. And then we're going to have examples here, which is basically a simple directory with a main.go, and which is here, right? Actually, to be honest. And we're going to try to build that, right? And I'm try to build some stuff. So first of all, let us take a post as example. That's the most simple example, right? So what of course there are no generators yet, which probably need to be there, like generators that basically create your stuff, your folders and everything, and for example, launch new, and it basically makes a complete scaffold for you. You know what I mean? I think it's important, right? Because people need guidance, people need productivity, right? But generators are completely out of scope for now. So first of all, I think we're gonna have two folders, right? We need a handler, or handlers, or handler. Like I said, I don't know, maybe handler. And we need another folder that's gonna be data, right? A lot of people call this models. I call this also types. But if you think about what you're doing, if you want to make something for the web, because that's for the web, right? If you make something for the web, you need to think about what are we doing actually, most of the time. Think about that. Before you go to sleep, just think about, okay, I want to build a project for myself. What I'm going to do? You're going to have a front end, a client, and that client is going to do a request. It's going to do a request to the server. And it's going to request data, or it's going to request and post some data into the server, into something we need to handle, right? A request comes in and we need to handle. That's why we call that the handler or the handlers. Just need to think about that. What are we requesting? Data. We are not requesting models. We are not manipulating models. We are focusing on data. Everything is data related. You know what I mean? We're gonna store data, retrieve data, manipulate data, do calculations on data, processing, all that stuff on data. So let's do a new file here. Let's say it's going to be a post go, right? That's how I see things, right? What I'm going to do is basically use one screen, to be honest. Post here. Package data probably. Type post is going to be a structure, right? And we're going to say here an ID, for example, maybe an int, perfectly fine. A title is going to be a string, and a description also going to be a string here. Something like that. Something very, very, very simple, right? So that's going to be our post. Like I said, we're not going to do too fancy, but we're going to also basically lay out some ORM-ish thing. And you're going to see why. Because I think it's a big problem in Golang right now. There's a lot of big problems, and I'm trying to solve them. This is not something I create just because I want to create. No, it's because there are problems that I want to solve. Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is, of course, we're going to make a handler here, new file. It's going to be, for example, a post.go. Could be perfectly fine. You could make just a simple handler file with all your handlers. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to do something that came up into my mind. The first, we're going to say package handler. We're going to make a new handler. The question is, how do we do that? I need to go back to launch here to see how I made this. Things are already a little bit different here because we're going to have a handler, but also a post handler. And a post handler is going to take in a post context, which is completely different than the normal context. However, the way we set that up here is we have our normal context, and we're gonna have an this is basically completely scrambled around. I know it's, like I said, I need to reorganize this. It's just me painting some Bob Ross thingy, right? No accidents. Actually, no mistakes, only little happy accidents right here. Yeah. So we're gonna have a post CTX, which takes in this generic thing, which is going to take the params, because, like I said, we are working with data. It's data-driven, data-oriented approaches here, because that's what we're working with. It's data. That's the only thing. Yeah, so the post, how do we do that? We make a post thingy here. Wait, first of all, let me make a main here. Is it app? Actually, I don't know how to use my own shit, man. Is that app post? We could do this, right? Create post. It's not app apparently. Let me open up launch on the other side here. I'm so sorry for this little inconvenience. App is a launch, yeah. We can do it like this. I'm a smart man. I'm a smart man. Look at this. I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing, right? So I'm gonna bring back the global variables. Hey guys, for the people that don't know the story that I told in the beginning, I am the one that is going to the pool to check if there is a snake or not, right? With my sword and my horse, I'm going to the pool to check if there's, and I'm gonna fish in that pool and there is a lot of fish and there is gold. And if I die, I die. I'm gonna do that for you guys. Because, like I said before, globals is something like, ooh, a global. But let me tell you something. A global at the right time, for the right purpose, at the right place, is muy bien. Alright, so this is already beautiful, right? Launch post, nothing to do here. Slash post, we can even do this idea if we want, but we're gonna make a post, right? So handler create post, we don't have that, so we're gonna make that. I think this is the most fun thing that I do in my life. Making these things, that's amazing, right? But finishing these things, that's something completely different. We're gonna say, first of all, oh yeah, something very important here, because we're gonna need a type. Because like I said before, something that I was missing in all of these frameworks is a strict data behavior on my request. If I post parameters to my handlers, I want to be strict. I want to know upfront. I want to let everybody know upfront what type I'm going to use, what type I'm going to expect. Let's embrace the typed language here. So I'm thinking here, so there are two big differences, right? I already mentioned this before. Let me comment this out. We're gonna first have the data, right? The data domain, which is our post. Which is gonna be the post, not the post request, but the post data structure, right? And then we're gonna have something else, which is going to be the request data. So let's do this. Let's call this the domain data or business logic, and the request data, which is going to be depending on our handler, depending on the request, depending on the action the user is going to perform. It's going to make a lot of sense. Call me a genius or call me an idiot, but I don't know. That's basically the purpose of my life, figuring out what I am. Request data is going to be, in case of create post, it's going to be the create post params, right? A little bit, like I mentioned before, a little bit of the Ruby permit parameters, which I so hated, but I love right now. Okay, I heard GNet is the fastest in Go. Why not base your framework on GNet? Usuma Sethorn. I'm gonna tell you a very important lesson. Me myself, I'm a low you could call me some kind of a low-level engineer. I do a lot of low-level stuff also in my day job, right? I'm not always web-related. I did in the past. So I care, I really, really care a lot about performance and speed. I do. If you watch me, if you watch my videos, my live streams, if we make these things, like Hollywood, for example, I try to make it as fast as possible. Every single millisecond I can make my benchmark better, I will grab that opportunity. And I will grab that opportunity and I will grab it today. But this is very important lesson. You don't need to listen to me, guys. Like, I'm just telling some stuff. I'm not selling you anything except the fulltimegodev.com, which is 30% off. That's the only thing I'm going to sell you. But people are too focused in the wrong direction, especially in Golang, for all these frameworks. You're focused at, hey, there are already 1 million web frameworks out there for Golang, Fiber, Gin, Buffalo, right? So the only way they can differentiate themselves from these frameworks is to, because like I said, there is a snake in the pond, in the pool, so they cannot export these paths, they are closed. Right? All these paths are closed. There's one path open, and that's the path of performance, which is actually the path we don't need. We don't need performance anymore. Because if you think about it, we are in a web context. We are not in the context of advertising brokers. We are not in the context of trading engines. We are not in the context of these high-speed, low-latency programs, right? We are in the context of the web, where the human eye cannot detect anything below 100 milliseconds. So if you have a framework that is super high speed with all other problems that comes with it, and that can do a request for 30 milliseconds, but you come with another framework that does a request for 80 milliseconds, which is actually twice as slow, nobody cares, right? Nobody actually gonna notice this. Nobody. The bottleneck in the web does not come from your framework. The bottleneck in the web sits here, in your way of thinking. Clip this. All right. Man, today I'm on fire. I'm not gonna lie. Today I'm calm. And it was a bad fucking day. I'm not gonna lie. This week was baby. bad day today. But hey. All right. So used to start the podcast, guys. Hey, like I said, if somebody wants me on their podcast, please invite me. I will come, or I will do it here. I don't care. But to basically, in my life, is already so fucking stressful. And I know a podcast, no, man, it's gonna be crazy, man. I cannot do that. I have a lot of things to tell because I made my fair portion of mistakes in my life, right? And I wish that when I was younger, I had myself, my future self already, so I can listen to my advice, so I cannot do the same thing twice. Okay, so we have the domain data as our post, and then we have the request data. So I'm thinking, because we are in the scope of handlers here, how are we gonna do that? I think maybe handlers should have a new folder. Hey, I know, guys, I'm an anti-folder guy, but this is made for scale, and I mean not for scale for the speed, because that's a path. We are going to another path, right? Where the snake is. You know what I mean? Where the snake is. We're gonna conquer it with our horse and our sword. We're gonna make this for the scale as an application itself, right? Like I said before on Discord, you're going to stay in a monolith forever until you have a developer scale issue. That basically means you have 20, 30 developers working on your project. You are sitting at a scale problem with your developers. Then you go to microservices, and you have a scaling problem with your application. And by the scaling problem, I mean you already horizontally scaled your application a fuck ton with caching and load balancing, and you throw a lot of RAM and CPU. Yeah, you can throw a lot of RAM and CPU, Once you cannot throw any more RAM and CPU into it, and you have a developer scale, then you go to microservices. So if we make this equation 1 plus 2, it's never gonna happen to you. You know what I mean? You're never gonna have that scaling problem ever in your life. So you're gonna sit in a monolith, take the money, and sip margaritas on the beach. Thank me later. All right, so I think we're gonna make here a request. Because these folders are going to be auto-generated, so I need to think about, and I actually want to start the ORM stuff because that's going to be interesting. So I need to hurry up here a little bit. So we're going to say handler request, or maybe we can call it param, or params. Handler or params, we're going to make a new file, and it's going to be create post, maybe something like that. Yeah, why not? Why not? Package params, we can change it up if we want. We're going to say type create post. It's going to be a structure. Right. So why do we need to differentiate these? Let me open a post on this side, right? Why? Thank you very much, Sherry. Oh, Sherry is back, man. Sherry, I like you. I don't know who you are. You're a very mysterious person, but thank you for the 10. I think it's dollars. 10 currency, $10. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Like I said, if it's 1 cent, it doesn't really matter. It's the act. It's your action that basically matters the most. Thank you very much, Sherry. Okay, leave programming to us. So we are gonna have. Can you see this? Yeah. So we're gonna have the post structure, right? Which is gonna be, or it's gonna be the data, the business domain actually, right? Business domain. And then we're gonna have this create post, which is going to be the request domain, something like that. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand, right? So what they do is they gonna post their post struct, if you know what I mean. They post their post struct, the whole shebang, right? That's not good. Why? Because your post could be a gigantic structure, and if you're gonna post that stuff, it's gonna take too much memory, unnecessary data in memory, right? If you know what I mean. Yeah. So we're gonna create post here, which is going to be we're gonna say just a title. Actually, we need to do it like that, title. And we, like I said before, we don't want to mess. We don't want to commingle JSON tags into our post. Actually, we do need, right? But it doesn't matter. It's fine. Don't mind me. So we're gonna make a title here. It's gonna be a string. I need to be fast because I want to do the ORM part real quick. It's gonna be JSON. It's gonna be title. I'm gonna copy this description. Description. Just like that. Create post. That's perfectly fine. So now in our handler here, we're gonna say, now there's a fun part. So we're gonna say func handle.create post. We're gonna say, do we need to do that? CTX is gonna be a pointer to a launch post CTX. And I think we need to do here, we could do create params, create post. Can I close this? What's going on here? Look at that, how beautiful that is, right? So what's gonna happen is, in this create posting, we're gonna clearly see that we are expecting this create post object. That's what we expect. From a debug and a readability perspective, very interesting, because you're gonna see a handler from somebody, from a colleague or something. You're gonna see, okay, it's creating a post. What does this handler take in as argument? Which was basically, it's never being done in any framework on the whole fucking world. In Golang, this is going to be the first. Why? Because nobody is evolving, nobody is exploring, and all these frameworks existed before generics. That's actually the thing. So we're going to return a nil here, right? So the cool stuff is that inside of this thing, what I also want is that, remember that what we need to do is here, we need to do like this, right? For example, if you want to make, we're going to say, for example, params is going to be this create post params, right? Like this create post, no, params.create post, it's my bad, params.create post like this, right? And then we need to do if add is going to be json.decode body, yada, yada, yada. We don't want to do that. That's basically unnecessary stuff. It's something we know. It's something we know we're going to fetch. Somebody is posting. So we know. It's web. It's JSON. What else? Right? And of course, we can make it even better that if you want to do this with a forum data, we can detect that inside of the framework, and then you will see what we're going to do. So what the framework is going to do, we're going to say the params, right, is going to be the ctx.request params. If I can do that, yeah. Done. What is params? Params.create post. No JSON marshalling, no shenanigans. That's already done. And it could be nice that if this is going to be a forum data coming from a forum, then this request params will be the params coming from the forum. Beautiful. So you can basically pre-code the type of your data up front. Sounds good to me. Okay. This is the params. So, and then we could actually say something like, now we need to create a post. For example, we need to post, fetch a post from whatever. Let's do this. ctx JSON params. So it's going to return me the params. If that's good, boom, and we are done, right? In JSON, beautifully fine. Of course, we're not going to do this. We're going to do some post stuff with the database, right? But it's just to make the compiler happy. So let me quickly see how we're going to do this in main, right? Handler create post, that's fine. Let's save this. We are done here. That's amazing. We don't need to basically do... It's amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I think we're gonna do launch start or something. Beautiful. Like I said, it's gonna be all coming from config files instead of flags. That's what we're gonna do here. Can I start this thing? Because I want to show you something. Can I open up a Thunder request here real quick? Thunder. http://localhost 3000, I guess. Post. If we send this, it's going to be a method not allowed. Because we do a get request. We're taking care of that already. Amazing. We're going to do post here. Boom. That's a problem, right? Hey, we are exploring. So we're going to say here, this should actually give us a problem. What's going on? This is so annoying, man. Oh, okay, we're going to say title, cool stuff, description, something more cooler, and send. Right, so you see it working perfectly fine, right? We have this thing here. All done for us, no JSON marshalling, it's all being taken care. And the coolest stuff of this is that we have a complete separation of business domain logic and our handler and our request params. Right? That's cool. And what also is cool is what I also hate is doing validation. I hate doing validation in my handlers. It's, I don't want to do that. So what we do is basically we say func here, right? And we're going to say, for example, I don't know, p from param. We're going to say create post here. We're going to say validate, right? And validate is going to return us. I have no fucking clue. Let's open up launch. It will tell us any bool. All right. We're going to say we're going to return an any type and a boolean, and you will see why. Because, for example, we could say if p title. If len pp, what's going on? Is basically smaller than 100. Just to get a problem here, we can actually return whatever we want, right? We could return a map of string, and in this case, we're going to say title. For example, too long, too short. or something else, right? It doesn't really matter. And then we're going to return true because that's a problem. And in this case, we're going to return null here and false. Right, so what's going to happen is that if we restart this thing, just like this here, boom, restart it, and I send here, that's no problem. That's problematic. Like I said, this is all. Where are we? I need to click with my mouse. That's nasty. Wait, create post maybe. Oh wait, this should be false probably. Like I said, I'm not the smartest person in the room. Let's restart this shenanigans up, right? Alright, you see, title too short. Easy. Right? We did not do anything. If in our handler here, this is basically, this is validation on the request. Eh? Not on the business domain. Right? Still, our handler is still 2 lines beautifully, right? Of course, there can be improvement, right, here and there, but this is the ID. This is the ID. Make it easy and simple, right? And separate data and request data. What mistakes did you make that we should avoid, Anthony? Emotionally attach yourself to persons, animals, and things. You cannot do that. And a lot of other things. Yeah, trust people. Bad. Never do that. Whatever they say, whatever they do, never trust them. Ever. Nobody. 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 Be a lone wolf. Yeah. Do you have anything that you don't like on the Go genetics or which is Go genetics is okay. It helps. Like in this case, it helps a lot. Like this, I think this is amazing. My create post with this create post params up front, and what you could do here is basically in this validation, right? In this launch thing, this is actually amazing. I didn't know that nobody thought about this. What you could do is each time you're gonna serialize this thing. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere. Where the fuck is this thing? Here, right? In this thing, because we know the params, we can actually do the validation. You see, that's what I mean, right? You could pre-validate everything before you're gonna process it. Security-wise, very nice, right? Because you don't need to do anything in your handler. Everything is basically filtered out for you. If somebody is posting garbage, it's fine. It's not gonna hit your handler, right? It's not gonna hit your handler. Gorm should be illegal. Like I said, guys, we're gonna do the ORMs right now. Anthony, what would you advise when working with database ORMs? Gorm is not good. Let's talk about SQL or SQLX. First of all, before SQL C and SQLX is good, but I don't like it. It's Goals Fitness. Haven't seen you for a while. Let's go for a workout. Stupid app. I'm working out today, you stupid. Listen. Something we need to... We're gonna do it right now. We're gonna do it right now. How I see things, right? Because are ORMs bad? Yes and no. It depends. Because it depends on how you use them, right? And now we're gonna make the launch ORM. Prototype. Exploration, like I said. If it's good, if it's bad, we are not going to influence ourselves from the outside. We're gonna forget everything that people are told us on social media, on conferences, in books. We're gonna forget that. And we're gonna trust ourselves. We're gonna take our horse. We're gonna take our sword. And we are going to the pool where the snake is in the grass. And we're gonna see for ourselves if there even is a snake that's gonna bite us. And we're gonna die. We're gonna do that. Somebody needs to do it. Okay, so yes, because that's fine. Now, you see the point, right? And you could also do a get, which is the same thing, yada yada yada, and we're gonna have a plugin system, and it's all gonna be fine. But let's open up our handler here, right? Let's say we wanna have a post. We wanna use our DB, right? That's a big problem for people coming into Golang. It's also a big problem for me. where the hell am I going to handle my DB? How are I going to inject it, right? Most of the time, you're going to use, what I most of the time do is I make a type, for example, a user handler, right? That's what we do, user handler struct. And we're going to have here a DB, right? And most of the time it's going to be an DB interface. It's not that name, but just so you guys know, it's going to be a store, right? Or a DB or a storage or something. It's going to be an interface, right? And then you need to make a new user handler and you attach, you make a function receiver, and then you're going to have, for example, handler.db. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Something that I'm exploring, but I want to make it easier. Listen, building projects, building startups, building things need to happen quickly. And as a developer, you don't want to hassle too much with how do I need to do that. And you're basically rethinking yourself most of the time. Let us be honest. Sometimes I go to sleep and then I'm thinking, damn, did I do this the right way? Maybe I should make DB this. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should make it an interface. Maybe I should make it that folder. You're continuously questioning yourself, and I think that is a bad, and especially new people coming to Golang, they are continuously questioning themselves if they are doing things right. Because there is the community guidelines, which is the narrative of the community, which is also the problem why the language could be much more popular, but thanks to the community it's not, unfortunately. But now I'm here, right, and I'm breaking all, I'm freeing everybody's soul. So what we're gonna do, guys, is this. In the framework itself here, we're gonna make a new folder. It's gonna be DB, and we're gonna make a new file. We could call this DB, doesn't really matter, package DB. And what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna make a type DB, which is probably gonna be a struct, right? Like I said, prototyping, right? I'm gonna say, for example, doesn't really matter. Then I'm gonna say a type query builder, because ORMs need to be refactored, right? We cannot use GORM, we cannot use any ORM out there. We're not gonna use these SQL generators. That's BS. If you really want to go, it's a discussion point. They are not bad, but I don't want to hassle with that, guys. I don't want to write queries. If I make a simple application for an admin panel or something, or an admin tool, or I want to create post users to do all these simple things, guys, I don't want to write these SQL queries myself. I don't want to. I don't want to. Please no, right? If I need to do a difficult query, and in Lavenue back in the day, I had couples where I needed to do aggregations and all that nasty stuff, I will do a raw one. Then I will do a raw one. But for all the simple stuff, I don't want to hassle with that. I want to go speed, speed, speed. Deploy, feature. Yeah. So we're going to say a query builder. It's going to be a small caps thing, right? Nobody can access this. It's going to be a structure. Then we're going to say something like this. Func where, for example, going to multiple. I'm just exploring, right? Which is going to take in a t, any, very important, this aspect, and that's going to return a query builder, a pointer to this thing, right? So we're going to return, actually we're going to make a new query builder, qb or b. It's going to be this query builder pointer thingy. We're going to return b, right? Perfectly fine. So what's going to happen is that and of course we can also do this, func, for example, limit, and going to be query builder, right? I thought about this, guys. Query builder limit, query builder t, it's fine, because the query builder is per object based, right? You're gonna see that, guys. You're gonna see this. It's gonna be a relief. is that query builder t limit and int like this, returning a query builder, of course, again. So we're gonna return the query builder q, probably actually t. T, any. Simple. I can return this, yeah. Fine. Where t, query builder t. Query builder t. Right, limit, right? Copy this thing. This is, scaffolding. This is engineering. We don't need diagrams. We're gonna use the framework as if it was there. So we know what's missing. So we know what feels good, right? It's the same thing. How can you know sex with a girl is good? By having sex with a girl. It's exactly that. She can say whatever the fuck she wants. No. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it right now. Sort. Hey, we're gonna make it easy. Ascending. Field. String. Right? Easy. Hop. Descending. Field. Easy peasy, right? And then we're gonna say func. Copy this thing. Paste that in. Close it up. We're gonna say run. Maybe, I don't know. And it's gonna do this. And what is gonna return, guys? Exactly what's gonna return. It's gonna return this T and an error. Because let us be honest, all these ORMs usability bad. Disgusting. No wonder nobody wants to come make web. Golang is not for the web. Of course it's for the web. This language is screaming. Fuck me. But the problem is all these library builders, they are building it so... No. We're going to return. So we're going to do this. T. Var. This. Return. Can we type? T. Error. Nil. Yeah? And now, guys. Now, look at that. Look at this. Actually, to be honest, so it's going to be finding, right? That's cool. So handler. We're going to open up our handler. So we're going to do this, right? Post. Error is going to be db. But Anthony, where is that db coming from? From the framework, right? But Anthony, it's not attached to a struct. We didn't construct this. Yeah. So is there a problem? Are you afraid of the snake in the pool? I'm not. I'm ready. I'm ready to be bitten. db where? Of course, this is going to taking some arguments, right? We need to think about this. It's going to be a map. Is it going to be something like this? ID. Oh. Caps lock maybe. ID 1 or something, right? And then you could say name or title in this case. We could do something cool like title matching. We could do cool stuff, right? For example, title is going to be... you see, there are a couple options. We could make it a map, whatever. We need to see that, what feels good. Maybe we have two things. Maybe it's going to be generic. I don't know. So db.where.limit. Oh, db.where. What are we fetching? Post. It's going to be data post, right? Save this. Limit. I want 10 posts. And it's going to be ascending based on the ID. And then I'm going to say run. Boom. Post r. If r, of course, that's something we cannot... but that's nice. I'm going to say return error, right? And otherwise, we have this post here, and we're going to return post. Of course, this params, yada, right? Beautiful. Look at this, guys. What do you think about this? This feels so fucking good. I'm legit getting a shot of dopamine right now. This is insane. Wow. So let's actually this needs to be an injection. This needs to be a store. We're going to store the post here, right? Of course. Yeah, that's fine. So let's make a simple thing. For example, create post. Let's say get post, right? Get post here, which is going to be a ctx, and that's going to be a launch normal ctx, right? Because we are not in a post context. We are in the normal context. So no post context, the normal context. And that's going to return an error, beautifully fine. What we also could do basically is also make this some kind of with an interface, with the generics that we could do also a params.something, which basically is going to take all your query parameters and put them directly into a structure, into a predefined set of data. That's something that we could do. We need to think about that, guys. Think about this. Help me make this. So we're going to say get post here. That's fine. So we need to find that, right? So we're going to say that the ID is going to be ctx.param ID, right? And then we're going to say db.where, Actually, we could make something else, like find one or something. I don't know. Options available. Options available. We could say post r sdb where. Actually, to be honest, let's it's gonna be one post, right? So limit one maybe. I don't like limit one. Run. Ascending is not needed because it's can we please type? How are we gonna do this, guys? What do we think? Are we making a map? That could be a launch. I don't like that, actually. A launch M or something, and then say ID is ID or something. I don't like that. Shouldn't the DB stuff happen in the business logic instead of the handler? Yes. That's a very good question. Mandra, no. Quito, I'm so sorry, the chat is crazy. Yes, but something we cannot... I don't like to, how do you say that? I don't like to obfuscate simple DB queries. There is a point, you have a point, you have a very good point actually, and now I'm thinking, like I said, I love feedback. It makes a lot of sense to do your queries in your data domain, in your data spectrum. And then you're gonna call something like data.createPost based on the params, which is going to return you a post and an error. And then we're gonna say if the error is not nil, we're going to return the error. That's fine. So that basically means that this thing needs to go into post data. You're gonna paste that in, and you're gonna say func create post. Quito is a hero, which is going to return a data post, which we are in data. We're gonna make a pointer to a post, maybe or not. Depends. Let's do not question this. We're gonna say this one. We could actually do this. This is so fucking clean. This is the cleanest clean than clean. Of course, we are in trouble. We are in a bit trouble. I think the problem is... Oh yeah. Hey. Pointers, no pointers, we can discuss that. It doesn't really matter. Actually, maybe better than no pointer, but the problem is that... actually, let's do no pointer here. So create post, that's fine, based on the params, which are going to be... And now we need to be very careful that we are not coming into circular dependencies. That's very important. And I think we are probably going to get one very soon, if not right now. I think we're going to have one right now. Okay, we don't. That's something we need to be very, very, very cautious about in Golang. Circular dependencies, they come and it's the snake, right? Create post is this. Wait. Yeah, so like Quito mentioned, we're going to abstract the data stuff in the data domain, in the data spectrum, which is going to take in data create post, which we don't need to, this params, we don't need to do it like this because everything is already been validated for us. Take that in mind. Params is sanitized completely. So what we could do is make it even cleaner and say ctx request params. And just say JSON post. Look at this create post handler. I'm gonna even open it up here. It's basically two files at the same time. I need to use my mouse because I'm so full of dopamine that I cannot even type anymore. So the business logic is pure. Exactly. That's very important. The right people are on the right stream. I like that. So create post here. Data create post request params all being sanitized. We return JSON post. We can even return a status just like in I think it's in Fiber. I like that we could do, for example, 201 if we really want, right? Or something else, but default is 200. Status okay. So what is this? Get post. Well, I mean, in this spectrum, in a simple get post, to be honest, unless you need to do some filtering, you could move that to the data layer, but like this, you could easily do this, right? I don't like this. db where. I think we're gonna make db where. We're gonna make db where something like this. Args, which is gonna be an any, right? And now we can do cool stuff here. Of course, we need to sanitize it here to check that we have, how do you say that, even number of arguments, right? But that's no big of a deal. But so we're going to say here db where, for example, id is going to be id. That's a problematic problem because wait, something is going on and I didn't. And it's quiet once again. Post. Okay, what's this? Cannot infer T. No problem. Look at this. How do you usually determine pointer or no pointer? I'm gonna make a secret confession here. If I am sure that I need to adjust values of a structure, I'm going to use a pointer. But if I need to check, if I need to return, for example here, let's say we have a function here, right? Let's say func foo, right? And func foo is going to return us a post. It's going to be a data.post and an error, right? I make, because I actually don't care, I will never do this. I will never make this function signature. I will always make this function signature. Why? Because I like to return nils. For some reason, I think a lot of people say nil doesn't make any sense, but nil makes a lot of sense to me. This does not make any sense to me. This thing. You're basically telling, hey, this function foo is going to return you a data.post and an error. Which, if you think about it, you return an empty data, basically a completely empty initialized post thingy, which you don't need to. Every value will be initialized to 0 value, right? Here. Correct me if I'm wrong. If we have a post with 100,000 fields, all one of these 100,000 fields will be initialized. Empty, default. But we're never going to use this post in this scope because we're using an error, which basically means that post is always empty. So why will you do that? We can better return a null. So if we, oh shit, what I'm doing here. So we're going to make a pointer, so we can do not do this, and we can do just null. You know? It's easier checking. Because even though you have no error, for example, here, right? You have no error, it's only going to return a data post. So it's basically going to do this. We're going to return a data.post. If there is one. If there is none, right? If there is no post, you're going to return this, which is going to assume there is one, but it's an empty default one. So it makes no sense. So I'm going to return this pointer. So if there is no data, I'm going to return null here. So it's easy because then I can do here, I can say if foo equals null, I can do logic. Makes a lot of sense from a readable perspective. Oh, is foo is null? That's going to happen. But otherwise, you need to check this. You need to do this. Data post. Then you need to do it something like that. It's not even actually working like that. I mean, confusing, right? So that's why I'm using pointers to return in these scenarios. Not because a pointer makes more sense, more of a readable behavior perspective, if that makes any sense. I hope that makes any sense. All right. I think this is clean, right? We have this get post thingy. Yeah. And of course, the DB here is going to be independent based on what backend you're going to use, right? I mean, you could use a Postgres. It should work the same thing with MongoDB. It should work with everything. It's just driver-based, right? It's going to be a driver-based. So all of these things should basically work for every kind of database that's supported, right? If you know what I mean. So that's going to be some thinking about, because MongoDB is using based on object IDs, and then you have SQL, which is using integers, and maybe you're going to use UUIDs or something. So it's we need to check that. We need to see what's how it works, right? I'm going to a little bit chill real quick because yeah. And once again, guys, if you want to learn how to build these JSON APIs, if you want to learn how to build microservices with your bare hands and with GoKit and all that shenanigans, check out the fulltimegodev.com, right? All right, let me see the chat here. I need a cigarette and a cup of coffee after that one. Hey man, Sherry. Sounds like a good idea. Maybe the DB logic could be in the repository logic, and then the business logic calls the DB stuff from the repositories. I'm not a big fan of repositories. I don't know. Create post, simple, and you could make a delete post also, and all that stuff, and you just call your DB like this, right? Boom. DB, where, post, limit, boom, boom. And if you want to make complex queries, you can abstract them inside of your in your data spectrum, right? In your data layer. You can just rewrite them or make some. For example, you could have where is DB here? Let's open that up. Actually, let's kill this screen here, right? You could make something like this. DB query builder. Where are you gonna put that? Maybe something like this, func raw, right? That could also be a T actually. That's gonna take in a string probably or something. And it's gonna return maybe a query builder also with a pointer with a T. It's gonna return. It's gonna make this new thingy. Return B. Right, and then you could do something in your post data if you don't if you need to do a complex query where an ORM maybe could be slow, because some ORMs are not the smartest one all the time. If you want to do a lot of joins or something and summations and some calculations, ORMs are not the best fit for that. But for all of these simple things, they are a breath of fresh air, let us be honest. So you could do func special query, right? Like this, which is going to return the same thing. It's going to return a post here, right? Post error. So we could say DB raw, right? Look at this beautiful API. Beautiful API. DB raw post, just like that, or maybe a pointer to a post, depends on how you want it. And then we're going to say select everything from, which is a basic query, user, something like that, right? Yada yada yada, and exec, and run, right? Run. Boom. Which is going to give you a post and an error, right? Actually, to be honest, return the shebang, right? Something like that. Hey, and maybe you could do a raw here, right? Maybe you could do a raw and even say that you're going to limit this. Not raw, because this is, a limit is not raw, right? A limit is always simple. But the select from, join, inner, outer, sum, egg, this, the whole shebang, that's your raw query. But you still can use something like limit to 10 and maybe do a descending sort on the title or something. I don't know what you want to do. Beautiful. Hey, correct me if I am wrong, but there is nothing that exists out there that does this. The way we are just trying to come up with it, right? Let us be, I don't know, maybe somebody can say it's true so I can check it and maybe I can contribute to that. I don't think anybody is going this path because they are afraid of the snake. Right? The handler, where is this thing? Here, my post handler, beautiful. Create post, get post, right? So what we're gonna do in main here, we're gonna say launch, get, is gonna be post ID, handler, get post, call it a day. Beautiful. Of course, you're gonna have grouping and all that stuff. That's the easy part, middleware. That's not a big of a deal, right? That's everywhere the same. It's in Laravel, it's in Ruby is an edge case because yeah, it's Ruby, but it's in Express. It's everywhere the same. You make a group, right, which is going to be basically a prefix of endpoints that's going to share the same behavior. It's going to share the same plugins, the same middleware, right? Muy bien, man. Muy bien. I need to look into the stream from yesterday. The generic you use are still over my head right now. Yeah, so basically, why this generic thing is here is because this is actually, I'm gonna delete that. So this is going to be your handler. It's going to be your create post handler. And that is always going to send you, it's going to post you data to your server. Coming from a mobile app, coming from a client, right? With JSON most of the time, maybe we're also going to make it work that params create post could be coming from a forum, right? Then we don't need to JSON serialize it. We need to do it a little bit different, but we can know that, right? Based on the content type, we know, oh, it's going to be JSON, so we're going to marshal it as JSON, or it's going to be multi-part form data. Then we need to do it differently. But by the end of the day, this create post will be deterministic. You know what this handler is going to receive from the front end. There is it's create post. That's it. With the fields of create post and nothing else. You know what I mean? And the reason if we do this, that's why we can use request params, which will directly return this create post structure, right? There's no need to JSON serialize. That's 4 lines you can skip. 1, 2, it's 4 lines. 4 lines. In the trash can. So a little bit more years without carpal tunnel, you know what I mean? What are you thinking for the front end? Send static files. That's a good question. Because I was thinking a lot of that. So as you guys know, 11U, which is a startup of mine, still is a bit because I still am a shareholder, but I'm not active anymore. We use Next.js, right? So I did my big portion of TypeScript and all that stuff and Tailwind. So I did my big portion of that. But if we think about this, right? How many times, if you want to make an app, how many times do you need all the complexity that comes with these tools? Because I already showed the source code in the previous stream, so check that out if you want to see how the next TypeScript source code looks from a real startup. It's a beast. They're basically this long, all hooks. Create hooks. There's hooks all over the fucking place. Then you have Zustent with his fucking global state manager, and you have all these components and subcomponents, and it takes ages to find your way in these things. Just because it's React, it's TypeScript. But how many times do we need that complexity? Because I was thinking about that 11U itself. We don't do complex things. We don't need a single page app. Why? Because it only loads the portion that you're changing. Yeah, I mean, I'm using all these tools like Teachable for my course and everything, and they are no single page apps. You can clearly see they are built with some kind of Ruby on Rails or something. GitHub, for example. No big of a deal, right? no big of a deal. And if you really want to have some special thing on your website in your front end that needs to do some JavaScript behavior, because JavaScript will always be the language of the front end for the rest of our lives. Nobody will ever change that. That's impossible. That's too big. It's already too deep. It's basically like it's an addict that can never recover anymore. So, but then you can use these, for example, these smaller Vue components or smaller React stuff for particular things that need to dynamically change for something. I don't know. But for the majority of your startups, for the majority of projects that are being built, they are being built with way too complex technology for what it's actually going to do. Just because it's a popular technology, just because Theo is doing that, just because that startup, Netflix is doing it, or just because Twitter is using it, they are going to also use it because they think, oh, then we are good for the rest of the future. But that's not true, because you're shooting yourself in the foot. Think back 10 years ago where PHP, Ruby was shining. I mentioned this also in the previous stream. That was so easy. If you are a backend developer in C or in Golang or something, do yourself a favor. Install Ruby on Rails real quick. Do it tonight. Just simple, and try to make a simple app. But very simple, like a post thingy. Just to explore. It's so fucking easy. It's done in 5 minutes. And you're gonna say, whoa. I don't need to hassle with my front end to add users or to create pages. It's all in Ruby. And then some HTML with a template syntax. And you're going to say, wow, this is actually amazing. You're going to feel yourself relieved. Like, oh, hey, that's easy. Turn on a config parameter, boom. And you have a complete JSON thingy all set up. It's a real relief. But we are evolving to a complex world to solve complex problems which most of the people don't have. Most of the companies don't have these problems. That's what I say. That's why I meant that story. That's why I started the stream with the story of the snake. People are not exploring a certain path anymore because it's the narrative of the parents. The parents educated that their kids could not go to that fishing pool because there's a snake that's going to kill them. But the snake is full. But the lake is full of gold, and the lake is full of fish, and there is no snake. It's the same thing, right? Everybody's telling us to use microservices. Everybody's telling you need to use Next.js with React and TRPC and TRP whatever, and even thingy. How is it called? That Apollo thing. WebQL. No, GraphQL. That was nasty. Nobody's talking about that anymore. That was fucking nasty, man. All these complex things. Because they forget to go back to these closed gates, and that's what I wanna reopen. Hello, my friend. Shout out from Brazil. Hello, amigo. My reaction when I tried Next.js a few days ago. What the fuck? What is your call on Solid.js? Never heard of. You can do something similar with Doctrine, the PHP ORM. Yeah. Rui Rodriguez says no Rails. I can understand it if you did a lot of Rails in your life that you have enough. Right? You need to think about like this. Listen, guys, that's how your brain works, right? If you're a Rails developer, if you're working in these frameworks, Laravel, Rails, Symfony, Next.js or something, like all these frameworks, for years and years and years, and suddenly you're gonna write some low-level stuff where you can do whatever the fuck you want, you're gonna be relieved. There's a new world going open for you, right? You're gonna feel dopamine. Because you're sick and tired sitting in Rails, you're sick and tired, controller new, model new, and all that stuff. And now you can do whatever you want, and it's all good. You're gonna be relieved. It's the same thing for the low-level developers that are building these Go programs with their fucking bare hands, right? Not even have the possibility to do this, guys, right? To CTX per M, it's not gonna work because it doesn't exist. So this thing is not working with the standard library, so you need to figure it out with a regex or something, and people are doing that, right? No, I'm not gonna use a framework. Go standard library is good enough. It is good enough. But is it good enough to basically lose your fucking sanity? I don't know. I just wanna, if I wanna make any, I wanna make a fucking regex. I wanna do this, man. Right? You know what I mean? So for us as low-level programmers, coming to a framework like Ruby or Next or Laravel or whatever is going a relief for us. So it depends on how burned out you are on your work, and it's the same thing with a woman, right? After 20 years, you go to a new woman, it's gonna be insane. You know what I mean? New flesh. If you eat the steak for the same day, you're gonna for weeks you're gonna be happy with a chicken or a pizza, you know? But that's not the case. You need to set your emotions aside, right? You need to think about, okay, I want to make a project. I have a good idea. I want to make money. So what I'm gonna do? Am I actually going to use Next.js with React, or some kind of a framework which I have a front end and I need to make API calls to my backend and all that stuff? Or am I just gonna say fuck it, man? I'm just gonna use some framework and single page, fuck it. I'm gonna use render template stuff and it's gonna work. This night, my project will already be done without any problems. Autopilot, and you can focus on building your business. Focus on thinking about the features. Serving your customers. Give yourself the question. Give yourself some. I'm gonna give you some homework. Before you go to sleep, first of all, you're gonna do everything what you need to do with your wife or Jeff, right? Because I know. Do your stuff. That's done, right? She's sleeping. You're gonna sit back and you're gonna think about this question. Why am I a programmer? Why did I learn how to program? Why? That's something you need to think about tonight, but I'm gonna give you my answer because I did the same question today in the car because I'm bored in the car. For some reason, my best ideas come in the shower, on the toilet, and in the car. But first of all, I'm gonna basically do the most comprehensive Golang. Yeah, we know that. I need to do this here. Music playlist is booked. Oh, it's not. Where are we actually? What the hell? Oh, here. Oh, we have... Whew. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So I was sitting in the car. I was thinking, why am I a programmer? And I am a programmer. When I was 16, I was playing Counter-Strike. Listen very carefully. I was playing Counter-Strike. And we wanted to have a clan website. And we also wanted to make a competition where other clans could register and all that stuff, and then we could play against each other and we could have a leaderboard. So they needed to log in, you have access to the platform, and they give in the scores and all that stuff, and later on we linked it with the server directly. So then I needed to do a lot of Linux stuff because I was installing these servers with all these mods, and then I linked these servers basically on the website and all that shenanigans. Yeah, that's how I learned that. So I learned to program not to become rich, not to become a programmer because I wanted to be a programmer. No, I wanted to play Counter-Strike, but I learned how to code because I actually want to build stuff. You know, I want to make a clan site, and all these people want to make a clan site. So they were paying us, me and my friend Victor, which is nickname was Pado. But I still know him as of today. But if I call him Pado right now, he's angry. He doesn't like that. It's Victor. And we were making clan sites. We were making money when we were 16, 17 years old. People were sending money with the post, with a letter, with a post letter. You know what I mean? That's why I was programming. Not because I wanted to work for a fan company and raking all the money. No. And that's a big difference, because if you're turning into a programmer because you want to be a programmer just to be one, right? Because it's cool, maybe because it makes some money, it's fine. Because you need to make money you need to do some job in your life anyway. But the thing is, you're gonna think differently. You're gonna be more focused on your toolings. You're gonna be more focused on your editor. You're gonna be more focused on the quality of your code and the way your code is, the way about the technology, and you're gonna be more focused on that. which is not a bad deal. But you're not going to be so focused on building things because that's not your intention. You want to code. It does not matter what you're coding. You're writing code, you're using technology, it's fine. The end product, you don't care, right? If it works, you're going to be happy, of course. But I'm not that person. I'm a complete opposite. Of course, I love to code, but I love to code because the end result is what I actually want. And that gives me satisfaction. Not the coding part per se. I love to think about these solutions, bring them on the screen as you see right now, right? Coming up with these things because I want to have an end result. And the end result is not, so to say, to have some framework and being popular because I don't care. No, it's to have a tool so I can build stuff more quickly in a language I love. Again, if you think about that, everything comes together, right? So why did I learn Go? Why am I focusing so hard on Go? Not because I don't know how to program in other languages, no. Because this language gives me the simplicity, because I'm a fucking simple man. Don't get me wrong, I'm the simplest man in the world. So I want to have a simple language that can get stuff done quick. Without all the stuff, like we need to think about if you open up one object, for example, a list or something, and you have 10,000 methods that, oh, what do I need to use? Is it first? Is it index? Is it collect? I don't want to think about that. If I need something, then I will make a function for myself, right? I don't care. Right? So you need to take... yeah, that's what I say. So don't be... It depends. If you're focused, if you're just a programmer and you love programming and you don't care about this, okay, then maybe Ruby on Rails is not good for you. But I'm working in the startup scene for basically all my life. And like I mentioned before, frameworks like Laravel or Ruby on Rails in particular has made millions. PHP has made millionaires. And what all these other projects has done, like for example Next and all these other TRPC shenanigans, that made projects on GitHub. No millionaires. That made projects. That made an overflow of NPM modules, an overflow on these projects on GitHub. That's what that made. But Rails and PHP and all these frameworks made companies. As we know them today. Netflix, Shopify, GitHub. Most of them are all built on Ruby on Rails and still using them. But they came into scaling issues, right? Remember these two things that I told you? One, they came into a developer scaling problem. And two, they came into, I cannot scale my application horizontally anymore by throwing RAM and CPU power because we already exhausted this. Then you need to come up with cool solutions, and that's how microservices existed, which come with a lot of more complex problems. Hey, golden advice. fulltimegodev.com if you want to have more golden advice and be like me. If you want to think like me, you want to program like me with a mindset to land a job and make some money, fulltimegodev.com. I'm fucking hungry also. Do you think it's comparable to Wall Street where they purposely overcomplicate it to gatekeep the profession? I don't think I can answer that question with decent advice, to be honest. Because I could come with something up and you're gonna believe me because it's gonna sound like it's true, but it's actually not because I have no clue. But I can see that, right? I can see that working, that they overcomplicate stuff to gatekeep the profession. That's how the world works, I think, no? In programming, it works a little bit differently, right? They overcomplicate the profession to take your money. Is what it is. La Cabra! Mr. Charles, is that the goat? La Cabra? Is that some language for the goat? If that's true, let me know what language that is, because I love to say La Cabra! We are La Cabra! La cabra de corazón de la transportada de la cocaína al aeroporto. Not quite sure if that's even Spanish or something. But it sounds cool. Let us be honest. What is your call on oh yeah, I already did that. Okay, cool. So how much? Yeah, it's almost done. So let's see what we can do actually more. I'm actually completely exhausted already, but hey. I think I showed the most important things, right? And that's basically that the database layer is a very important layer in building these applications. And I think that's what a lot of people hold back to come into Golang. They really want, right? Because I can see that, guys. Listen, I'm not going to tell something that's not true because I can see these comments coming on my video. They really want to use Golang. People recognize, I'm going to say it's the most elegant language. It's not the best. There is no best language, right? It's a language. But it screams web development. It screams backend. It screams APIs. Don't forget that this is the language. Grafana, Kubernetes, Ethereum, they're all built in Go, man. Don't forget that. Because it scales so well. Not as, it scales well in two things. It scales well as a developer problem. Because it's easy to read. It's easy to write. It's easy to understand. Of course, everything is hard to master. But there is no questionable thing about a function most of the time. There's no discussion. Because it's simple. And the DB layer is a big problem because there is no good way to handle DB in Golang right now unless you do it bare hands. We don't want to do it bare hands. If you want to do it bare hands, we're going to use this raw query. Otherwise, we're going to use an ORM, which is going to take a bit of time to build properly. So that's a big pain point, the ORM. Building all the rest, the launch thingy, like these post requests and everything, easy peasy. Middleware, easy peasy. Cookies, easy. That can be done in one day. That's all fixed. Put post delete patch, fixed. Middleware, fixed. No problem. Configuration, that's not the problem. The problem is going to be a good ORM with a good API that makes sense. The second problem is going to be the templating engine, which is basically why I question myself that I'm starting this. Because if you want to make something cool, for example, how do we want to see this run? Because if I want to make projects, like I said, 11 new, it's a single page app, but it comes with so much problems, guys. Single page apps in Next.js. If you think that Next.js is going to be the savior, try to make a single page app in Next.js with React. And try to do your authentication. And keep a user logged in and all that stuff. It works, of course, but it's not that straightforward, guys. It's not that straightforward. Hey, it's not. Because you need to have, and then you have, is it called on the server side? Is it called on the client side? Maybe they have made some improvements with Next 13, I don't know, but I needed to do some checks because my local host, I could not, how do you call that inside of your browser? Local host, it's not, it's the thing here. Look at this beautiful, I need to make these myself. Local store. It's the local store, right? And you cannot access local store on the server side, so it's nasty, guys. Come on, let us be honest. It's deploying with Next.js is amazing, which maybe we should also do. So make some kind of platform or startup or company where they can just post easily their Go apps to. Can you imagine something like that? So basically, what I was thinking. Oh yeah, it's the rendering templates. For example, let's open up this example here. Handler, right? This is post. So this needs to, if this is an API, right? But let's say this is no API. Let's do this. Func. Get posts, which basically means you're gonna have a list. We don't gonna use this with JSON. We're gonna do, for example, like I said, I'm just prototyping, right? To see if you want to make a library, is a good advice is to basically before you start implement to create it, you start to use it with functions that does not work, just like our database, right? Just to see how it feels. How do you want to use it? And then try to make it. And if it doesn't work, no problem. Go to the snake, go to the pool, and if it's gonna bite you, it's fine. Nothing else happens, right? So we're gonna say something like ctx dot page or render, maybe, or view, and then it's going to have a prefixed set where your views are, for example, right? So the generator will basically make something like in examples here, right? So we have our handlers here. Data, we could make something like this, like a www folder. And then you're gonna have a new folder again. User will go. No, it cannot be, right? It's gonna be, for example, yeah, user right now. User, what am I doing here? Post. All right. List. I don't like list here because if you want to search that with your fuzzy finder and everything has list, you're gonna be a problem. Actually, let's make list. It's fine. HTML, right? Something like that. And I'm gonna say HTML, something like this, right? It's fine. So and then in our handler here, we could say view. And then we need to basically, the www path will be automatically set, I guess. Did we make that user? No. Post. Yeah, that's fine. Post list.html. Something like that. HTML. Which you can do with a Golang template engine. But it's not the best. It's a bit and then we can give it arbitrary data, right? So we could do go back to our data layer, right? Copy this, paste that in. I'm gonna say find all posts or something. Hey, doesn't matter. Maybe some query parameters, who knows? And that's gonna return a slice of postes. db where slice post run ascending limit. How much limit do we want? Maybe we could do this. Hey, look at that. Limit here, int. Post it in here. Limit. Boom. Perfectly fine. Go back to post go. I already like it. Handler here. View. We're gonna say data. Find all posts. Posts r this thing. If r is not null, man, we're gonna basically return null here. Who cares? Posts, something like that. What do you think about that? But that's, like I said, this is how basically all of the other frameworks work. It's just a way. So what Fiber and all these other frameworks do is they say, okay, we support rendering templates, but you need to bring your own logic. You need to parse them yourself and all that stuff. I don't want that, right? It's always the same shenanigans. Template's going to be in the www folder. And you're gonna call them with, and then you're gonna organize them, because nobody wants to have this predetermined set of post index list. People want to name them whatever they want. Maybe they have subfolders for components and navigation, all that stuff. Hey, so you're gonna locate this from the www path, and you're gonna inject your posts, and then the template engine is going to take over and render them. Sounds good to me. And then the same thing happens, because if you're sitting in a front end in a full stack framework, then create post is not going to be JSON params, right? But that doesn't matter. This is going to work nonetheless. This function works for JSON and for post request coming from your form fields, because the request params will always be a create post, no matter if you're going to post JSON or it's coming from a post field. It's going to be the same data. It's just the framework. We will detect what kind of header is being set. Is it a JSON application, or is it multi-part form data, whatever. If it's multi-part form data, we do stuff. If it's JSON, we do stuff, you know? And something I also don't like is this, right? Because you see, this is already a problematic problem, right? Why? Because okay, it's gonna search for a post, and the ID is gonna be ID, but this where is generic, right? It's gonna take in args, which is gonna be a slice of any. But basically, our DB, Postgres takes an object ID, which is gonna be a string, but MySQL is taking an integer, but this is a string, right? This ID is a string. So then we need to do, I don't like, we need to do that all the time, right? You will probably know that. So what we need to do is we need to check, we do need to do a string conversion. Is it atoy of ID? Not quite sure, yeah. And it's gonna be an int, is that? An y or an r. Is that true? Yeah, exactly. That's BS. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be so frustrated that you need to do this, that you're basically going to mug the errors because you don't want to handle it anymore. But it's important, right? Because this param is a user data. So we want to sanitize that. So that basically means that this basically is very important. This error is very important because that's going to be sanitized data, yes or no. It's going to be an int, or it's going to be junk. So I think what we need, what I wanted to do is something like param, but we should call maybe we should call int to it or something, right? But the problem is that this is going to panic out. But we can fix that, right? Because we are in the CTX scope. That basically means we have access. If we're calling functions on the CTX, it basically means that we have access to response and request, which basically means we can return data to the user if it's bad. So we can do the error message for you. But the problem is that we're gonna have multiple headers written to the client. Right? Because if this is gonna panic out here, panic on fail, on no int, we're gonna write response in framework, but the problem is that we need to return here. And I wish Golang had something cool, but we don't have that to make it a little bit cleaner. Echo, nonetheless, I use Echo also, right? Echo is something that's out there for a very long time. And Echo is a good framework. But Echo is the same as Fiber, right? Echo is the same as Gin. There is no big difference. Let us be honest, right? They all do the same thing. The only I think Fiber does a little bit. In Echo, you need to do this. You need to do HTTP status OK or something. Right, it's gonna be automatically okay, but if you want to do if you want to do status, if you want to do 201 or something, right, you can do that in Echo. You cannot do that in Fiber. In Fiber, you need to do this, right? The same thing as here, status 201 .json. I like this more. Because most of the time we're gonna return a 200, right? And we don't want to hassle with that. We just want to do CTX JSON post 200, call it a day, right? It's more cleaner, in my opinion. Can't you here use the context and just return a 500 to the user and that's it? Well, yeah, exactly, Kito. That's what I'm just mentioning. In this case, that would be nice because right now I'm forcing in my handler, I don't want to do as much validation. I want to keep my handler as clean as possible. As clean as possible. I don't want to have any logic in my handler as possible. It's just intercepting the request and calling and distributing the work and returning a response. That's the only thing I want to do. But if we return here, well, we can do that. Let's just do it, right? Let's just do it, and you're gonna see what it is. Because if we do not return here, we're gonna have a double-handed send it. Double-handed. You will see. Let's try, right? So we're gonna be ctx param. Let's go here. So let's do something like type param. What's it gonna be? Maybe a string, right? And this is going to return a param. No, what am I doing? This is going to return a param here, right? Param, right? And then we're gonna say func p param int or as int. What do you prefer? I don't know. I have no clue. Like I said, I'm open for everything. I'm open-minded, right? I'm not thinking about what the community is using. I'm not thinking about what the idioms are. I'm thinking about myself, how I can see myself using this in the most best way. And then we will see how far we got. As int, it's going to return an int here. We're not going to return an error because the reason why, you could say that's a bad practice, right? We need to intercept that error. I don't think so, because if you expect an int as a parameter in your request, you're gonna return a bad request. What else are you gonna do? I mean, nothing else you can do about it. Think about it. I mean, there's also a custom error handler, which if you really want to handle this special use case, which will most of the time never happen, then you can do that. So we could do a value error. Atoy is it, and it's gonna be this p, right? And if oh, we need a fucking wait, but there are some problems here, guys. But first of all, I'm gonna do this. We need to have the context, right? Do we need to cast this as a string? Is Golang that stupid? Yes, Golang is that stupid. So we can return this value, that's perfectly fine. The question about it is, Mr. Charles, have a nice work, man. Thanks for dropping by, much appreciated. I'm thinking the param could basically return we need to do it like that. We need to give the possibility. We're gonna say because this is not gonna work because we need the context. If you want to return a response. Well, we could do this. Status is gonna be request maybe. God damn it, I cannot. So what I'm gonna say is this. I'm gonna make an arrow. I'm gonna say fmt sprint like this. Sprint f. We're gonna say param. P. Sorry guys, I need to focus real quick. And then we're gonna serialize this thing and call it a day. See, that's bad because we're gonna return the CTX here, and we're gonna have double headers right. That's gonna be nasty. You see, I'm exploring, right? This is just an exploration. Is it gonna work out? Probably not, but we're gonna explore something. Right? We're gonna see how it feels. Right? So we're gonna say c param as integer CTX. Not too shabby, not the best, but it is better than doing a string converse ito yada 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 error is not nil shenanigans, right? And the problem is going to be, can we get posts? There's going to be one post, right? Do we have that in main? View does not exist. I understand that. It's something we were exploring. Let me run this once again here. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to do get post and we're going to say one. Okay, that's cool. And if we say a string or something, actually no. We're gonna say, actually we can do that. Yeah, you already see it, right? Superfluous response call from Anthony launch CTX JSON, right? But we have this error. We have double errors. Because we cannot fetch it. I have the best idea. But not the best. Because what we could actually track if we already send it a header and do not send it double. The problem is that your logic is going to keep continuing, so you're going to do these DB calls and call everything and everybody's happy, but eventually you're not going to get rendered. So that's problematic. So that's not a good API, in my opinion. That JSON CTX API looks like Go Fiber. I will say that JSON API looks like everybody else, right? And before Fiber existed, I already made my framework, right? I'm the like I said. Where is Weavebox? Weavebox, I think. Here. Weavebox. Way before Fiber. And it has, look at this. Weavebox. Look at this, guys. How many years ago? 8 years ago. Here. Can you see this? You can't. Here. 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Look at this. Wait. Get, post, put, delete, head, options. Wait. We are almost there. Wait for it. Damn, there's a lot of shenanigans. JSON! It looks like Fiber. No, it looks like what I made and they copied me. Yes, my friend. 8 years ago, Fiber did not exist yet. Buffalo, not existing. Like I said before. Believe me. I am. I'm this. This is amazing, actually. Can you imagine? What's happening here? It's so fucking So don't say I copy. I don't copy people. I don't follow trends. I set the trend. People follow me. And now, after 8 years, right? I don't think these frameworks are evolving. Because I did a benchmark. And mine is even faster than Fiber. There's a video on internet van. After 8 years, guys, I don't see these frameworks evolving anymore. Because they all do the same fucking thing. Over and over. We have a context and we have a response and... That's what I think it's time that the godfather of the frameworks in Golang comes up with new stuff. Teach people how it's being done, because nobody is willing to take the risk to go to the pond, to the pool where the snake is. Yeah, something is wrong with GitHub. I don't know what it is. Everything is an editor suddenly, and I see everywhere I click something happens, and it scares me the fuck. Right? But go to Weavebox, check it yourself. 8 years ago, moi. Yeah, but now it's time. It even has a templating thing, but it's based on the. I think I already made it better here. It's set templates with layout and everything, and I don't like that. It needs to work much better, much more convenient. What is this? Template execute. Yeah. So here I call it render. Oh no, it's the template engine. But anyway, I think I call it render anyway in the Weavebox thing itself also. It's time to evolve. People are not innovating anymore. Like I said, why? Listen, a very important thing. We're gonna end the stream anyway soon, and I'm gonna continue developing this on stream. Right? We're gonna make this. I'm gonna add plugins, GBT. So nobody needs to do GBT anymore. Nobody needs to do all that stuff. It's just a plugin. You just say app configure GBT, and it's all done for you. You don't need to do anything. Database migration is going to be fixed. Everything is going to be fixed. You don't need to do anything. And you're still going to have the possibility to... It's going to be opinionated by default, but extensible when needed. And that's what people need. Most of the time, it's not what you need, because you're probably going to be an more experienced Golang developer. But that's what people need coming from other languages. That's what they need. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for guidance, productivity, and they're looking for people that are embracing creativity instead of people. And I swear, I'm a victim of that myself. Every day I need to see comments, people criticizing my work every fucking day, and I'm getting so fucking mad. It's crazy, guys. You have no clue how mentally hard this is for me. Being not even a famous YouTuber. I only have 12k subs. I'm not even famous yet. Only 12k people know me. And every day I need to hassle with people that telling me things, how I should do things, that things are bad what I'm doing, that I'm missing this, that I'm not closing my Go routines. And I'm aware of that. I'm not gonna, this is demonstration code and all that stuff, right? But it's hard for me. It's mentally very difficult. But this is the tech community I need to live with. And I care, but I don't care enough. And I'm training myself to just deal with that. It's going to get way worse, I'm aware. But my mission here on YouTube, I'm 36, so I'm getting old, right? I'm not young anymore. I'm young, but you know what I mean. I'm not a hipster. I'm not a mid-20 hipsters. You know what I mean? Where my testosterone levels were peaking, but they peak now. I think. I'm not quite sure. I still feel good, but hey, my mission is to change or try to change the tech community a bit, especially in my community. I want to attract people that's willing to free their mind, that's willing to release their soul and be free again. Of course, there are bad practices. I 100% agree. There is spaghetti code. I 100% agree. There is untestable code, unreadable code. 100% agree. But it's getting a bit too far. People are nitpicking a little bit too much instead of cheering and helping to make things better. I don't understand. Even Reddit is crazy. Reddit is crazy. I make a post on Reddit, on Golang Reddit. It's insane. People are ready to go to war with a simple video. I just want to learn people stuff. I'm not telling lies. People are fucking mad at me. They don't like me on Reddit, so I don't know why it is. They don't fucking like me. It's crazy. Reddit, man. They hate what I do. Why? I don't understand. Why, Reddit? Why do you hate me? I only want to show you the fucking way because you're still making 50k. 50 is nothing. You know what I mean? I'm teaching you to open your mind. Take the money. And sip margaritas on the beach. And if you don't want that, it's fine for me. But just like my Reddit posts, right? Just like them and don't worry about it. The Oscar winning of simplicity. Exactly. Can't you do context dumb? Yeah, but the problem is, Kito, the problem is not to say... we have a way to basically call... To stop... Where am I here? We have a way to stop the double sending of the writer, right? Because we're going to send a response here. And then we're going to send a response... here. We can stop that. But we cannot stop this. We cannot... stop this logic, right? This thing. We cannot stop that. So we can do this. Or actually we could basically get an error here, it would even matter, and then say if r is not null, I don't like that. And then return the error here, right? Something like that. I don't know. Or we're just gonna say fuck it, and we're gonna just take it as a man. Do this. Delete the as int. I'm just gonna say that the ID is gonna be a param ID, which is going to be a string. And like Kito says, that we're gonna abstract this anyway, so we're gonna do data dot get post by ID, for example. Maybe it's a simple function you made. Get post by ID. And then we're going to pass in the ID, which is going to be a string. And you're going to handle that in your data layer. Because maybe it's going to be an interface. So a string is fine for MongoDB anyway. Right? You're going to, if you use the Mongo client in Golang, you're going to convert it to an object ID anyway. And you handle that there. So I don't need to take my... Because I don't like the API, right? It's kind of... It's bad design, right? This as int is a good design, but the problem that we cannot stop our logic from happening without checking for an error, that's bad design. That's not something we cannot do. So I think, right? So this thing is going to be inside of this thing, which is going to return the post and an error, and this error here is going to be then bad ID. Or something. What do you think? Can't you add state to the context and check on the context? Yeah, we can, but like I said, we cannot prevent it here, right? We cannot prevent the user's logic to we can prevent the double sending of the request, right? Double sending headers, we can do that, but we cannot prevent the rest of the logic to not continue. Yeah, that's what we can't, right? All right. Any more questions? Oh man. Like I said, if you wanna ever think around with the idea of being a YouTuber, I would think twice. I would not recommend people do that. I would not recommend people. No. No. Don't do it. Don't do it. YouTube is it's time consuming. If you want to make it, you need to be very versatile because you need to do all shenanigans. You need to do a lot of stuff. You're not gonna make any money for a very long time, and it's a slow process that you need to trust. And mentally, you're gonna get fucked up. If you're mentally not strong, if you're not the most savage person, you're gonna be fucked up. People are going to come and take your fucking soul. Because the internet is nasty. It's filthy. You know, filthy motherfuckers out there. Their comments sometimes. And like, I make these kind of okay videos, but can you imagine you have something like an Asmongold or something? Whew, baby, I think the amount of insult that guy needs. And I like him. I watch Asmongold every single time, every single evening before I go to sleep. He's very famous. Million of peoples. And you could say whatever the fuck you want from him, but I think his mental must be so fucking strong, because I know with only 12k subscribers that it's mentally draining. Is this the Spotify playlist public? No, this is an Artlist playlist, which is copyright-free music, so they don't put me in jail. Do you always listen to music while coding? Yes. I'm always listening to music. I will show you what I'm listening to. PC, hello. I'm listening to this playlist, Chill Progressive, or this one. This one from this one is from Lars, from the community, right? Lars, listen, it's the same thing. These two. Why? Because now you can see, well, I'm missing that music I'm listening. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't care. This is a progressive house trance without vocals, because vocals distract me, right? And Limp Bizkit, Eminem, I'm an old school motherfucker, you know what I mean? No effects. You probably don't know who No Effects is, but yeah, it's punk, because I was a skater back in the day. I'm listening, of course, to the Joe Rogan podcast and all that shenanigans. Yeah. Royal Blood, very good group, by the way. Royal Blood is good, man. And Nina Karavis! Ed Sheeran. Like I said, I'm a pussy, man. I'm listening to Ed Sheeran and all that stuff. I'm a legit a pussy. I'm weak. I'm a very emotional person, don't get me wrong, right? It's not because you have strong mindset and strong idioms and strong savage thingies that you're basically insensitive. I'm very emotional when it needs to be. And that's maybe the problem. Sometimes I think too much on stuff, right? It's getting my head too much. Can you send a link to the progressive playlist? Don't find it on Spotify right now. Yeah, I will share it in Discord. I think I already shared that. But because the progressive playlist, these two are no vocals. It's very, because vocals, you're gonna hear these things when you need to think, and before you know, you're fucking somewhere else. I will put it I will put it in a random in the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord community, jump into my community, man. Let's hang out. You know what I mean? All right, guys. I'm gonna call it a day because I still need to go to the shop, buy some food, because because it's bad news. But hey, I will take care of that. And of course, if you want to support me, if you want to support the GG Incorporation, fulltimegodev.com. If you want to become a Golang professional, if you want to know what I know, if you want to think how I think, which you may like or not like, right? I'm not for everyone, I understand. Right? The worst thing that can happen to you is being liked by everyone, because it means you're a fake motherfucker, right? Most important is that if you build a community, you have a very good, tight relationship with your community. That's why I stream, right? I don't like to stream because, well, I like to stream, but the problem with streaming is that it's not effective. A video is more effective. 15 minutes of time, maybe 20 or 30, because sometimes something fucks up. Put it on YouTube, and I have triple, quadruple the amount of viewers and exposure. A stream not. But a stream is for my community, right? It's to talk with my community directly, mano a mano, sharing my experiences. For the people that are willing to sit here and take longer content, absorb it, which is a small percentage. So if you are one of those small group, you're gonna make it. We are gonna make it. Because we are brave enough to go to the pool and fish and collect all the gold where the snake is. Remember that story from the beginning? We are doing that. La cabra! Thanks for watching, guys, and I'm looking forward to see you on Discord and whatever, Twitter and all that stuff.